Hello and welcome to the Caravan and a very hot Rookesbury Park club site near Fareham, where we're roasting, so this is probably going to be rather brief. We're on the second week of our summer holiday. First week was spent at a site in the New Forest called Foxhill Farm, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
At Alderholt, which is near Fordingbridge, on the edge of the New Forest, apparently.
Yeah, for being in the New Forest, there were no trees there and there was no shade.
Yeah, I mean, that's typical of the New Forest. So our original plan was that we were going to have a mini tour that would go Foxhill first, then to Bridport, then to the Centenary Club site and then home. That's not how things worked out.
It's never
Now
how
you'll
it
notice
worked out.
George isn't here. But George was here last week. He came with us to the New Forest, and we didn't feel comfortable with then. Well, I mean, we didn't want him with us for two. No, he didn't want to be with us for 2 full weeks. So it seemed to us that it was best to have the week in the New Forest together, and then we would come back to Rookesbury and we'd drive him home, and then he could do his own thing at home, bearing in mind that that is 30 minutes from here. So if he burnt the house down, we could at least get back in time to hose it. Well, there's a hosepipe ban, so we probably couldn't have hosed down the smoking ruins, but that was the plan. And there was also the matter of fuel costs. Going out to Bridport was obviously made the journey longer and more expensive. And there was the hideous cost of the Centenary site. This worked out great. It meant that we could have some time with George. I mean, he's 16 now. He is not going to want to spend time with his parents in a caravan very much.
We realised all at the same time that for various reasons on both George's part and our part, 2 weeks in a caravan was too big an ask.
Yeah,
Despite the fact that we'd bought the annexe, sleeping annexe for the awning for George, which did work really well at Foxhill last week because George had a bit of privacy and we had a bit of room in the caravan that is usually occupied by George until
we bought
sometime
the
around lunch.
Poled Dometic Rally Pro 330 earlier this year as our treat to ourselves. And then our concern was if George comes with us in our caravan, he occupies this end where we're sitting now, more or less permanently. And at the other end of the caravan is our transverse bed. So we would end up spending all our time out in the awning while George was snoring in here. So it seemed better to us that he spend his time in the awning so that we could use this area. So we got the annexe to zip in to it, and it has an inner tent as well. And it's actually surprisingly roomy, isn't it?
Yeah, that worked really well last week.
He was able to get his... I mean, he's as tall as I am, but he was able to get a blow-up bed and his various bits of electronics in there. And, you know, we'd zip him up at night and then we wouldn't see him until probably about 11 o'clock the following day, generally speaking. And so it made the holiday possible for us. So if you're in a situation where you have a teen or a pre-teen who's becoming reluctant because they want their own space, then I think that's an ideal solution.
I would recommend that.
We may well sell it when we come back. We'll have to take a view on that, but we could probably get a large chunk of what we paid for it back again if we sold it on. But we have enough room. The 330 is plenty big enough for the two of us and ideal for this size of caravan. So anyway, that made it possible for us all to have a holiday together. So Foxhill Farm is a CL site. It's a 5 pitch, but there's an extra pitch which has the wardens on it permanently. It has facilities.
Very nice facilities.
Very nice facilities. So there are basically, there's washroom and shower for men, washroom and shower for women, and then separate toilet cubicles, one each for each gender. So that was plenty, given that there are only ever 5 caravans there, apart from the wardens. There's also a series of shepherds' huts and cottages round the back. And but yes, I mean overall we thought the facilities were fantastic, and we'll come to that a bit later. But the cost was it's basically £25 a night for 2 adults. It's an extra £3 a night for a child, which George just about qualified for, and then £1 a night for the dogs. So the total for us was £30 a night. Now, bearing in mind you're getting full facilities and their serviced pitches,
which we've never had before.
No, that was the first time. That was quite a treat. And given that I've done my back in putting up the awning since we got here, I wouldn't mind having a service pitch right now.
Nor would I.
But so it was quite nice. It was the first time we've experienced it, and you know, I would not pay extra for a serviced pitch, but the fact that it was serviced was very nice. Thank you very much.
Very nice, yeah.
It's a nice part of the New Forest. Major piece of news: Peter drove. It's the longest drive you've done, wasn't it? And she did brilliantly.
I've towed here twice to Rooksbury. Last August,
but that's just basically
Easter.
Straight down. Is it A31?
Yeah, you turn right out of our storage unit and stay on that road basically. But so I had my first motorway towing on the M3 and the M27. Oh, I mean, I didn't tow far. It was about an hour and a quarter, wasn't it, altogether?
Yeah, that's a reasonable.
But there was the motorways. But what was even more interesting in that drive was the Kent's Lane.
We got Googled.
Yeah, we got Googled, and I had prepared my route and I had street viewed my route, but I did not see this bit. It was quite S.
Well, as we went into
a village, wasn't it?
Well, I noticed that it said lane on the road name, and I thought, oh my
Lane.
God! And then it was a 6'6" maximum width thing, and I was thinking, well, how wide is our caravan? It must be pretty close to 6'6". And then it seemed to be all right, because we found the first bridge and we got over that.
Yeah, we went over the first bridge and I thought, oh, that was that. Oh, that was fine. That was not it.
No.
There was a really, really narrow little old stone bridge, and it was very narrow.
And you had someone coming the other way, didn't you? And one just about managed to squeeze past this person.
So
that was a bit squeaky bum.
That was a bit hairy, that was down there.
We didn't come back that way.
No, but we did drive down there during the holiday. During our week down there, and even without the caravan on the back, it was quite a, one of those lanes that you wished you hadn't gone down.
So if we go back there, we will be going a different way. We'll go, basically the better way is to go to Ringwood, past Ringwood, and then take the Fordingbridge road.
Yeah.
Because you've sort of gone by and you're coming slightly back, but it's no extra distance and it's a better road anyway.
But wasn't that the junction where the road was closed, and that's why
you could still
Google
do it though? Yeah, I think Google did it because it was more direct to go the other way.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, you did really well, and
Thank you.
It was no worries at all, was it? The car handles it.
No, it was great.
Well, we'd very carefully checked the nose weight before setting off. We'd done all of our checks, so it was a well balanced load, and there was no wobble at all.
None. No.
We did a bit of M3. Then that really unpleasant junction between the M3 and the M27, and then the M27, then it becomes the A27 into the traffic jams at Ringwood.
A31, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
What, it becomes the M27, A27,
I know,
A31.
I thought it was the A27, but it's not. It becomes the A31, which is the bypass past Alton, so it's really weird.
Yeah. But we did it in good time.
Yeah.
It was, and then getting into it's quite narrow getting into Foxhill.
Yeah, and
if you don't know what if you've not seen it before, it does look, because it's brick walls on either side.
Yeah, it's the brick walls.
There is plenty of room.
Yeah, there is.
But you need to take it wide and then straighten up. But obviously, once you've driven that far, you just want to get in. So that was all fine. There was a slight mix up with the booking, but all was well that ended well.
Yeah, and we were very pleased to have 6 nights there. It was very restful, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And quiet, and
so the main difference, the main thing we'd added was the annex, but also I've added a Wi-Fi aerial, a sort of homemade Wi-Fi aerial. because I'm fed up of getting to sites and knowing that there is coverage available and not being able to get it. So I'll put a link up to the particular antenna itself, and I got a piece of plastic from Wix and just have used Velcro to stick it, to make a mast to stick to the side of the Caravan, and that was fantastic. I mean, it probably, the antenna itself was 15 quid, and I spent probably a fiver on the plastic and Velcro. So for about 20 quid we got usable internet connection for the week. And even now that we're at Rookesbury, which has diabolical Wi-Fi, we are getting just about. I mean, we could stream last week, can't stream this week.
No,
but you can.
Don't ever buy the Wi-Fi pass when you come to Rookesbury. No, just top tip, because it's not worth it.
No. Well, the thing is, with the club Wi-Fi, they only give it for one device anyway, so you can't use it for streaming TV or anything like that. But it's been all right. It's on and off, and we are beneath a tree because we wanted a shaded spot. So
we're actually on the same spot, pitch 98, that we were on last August.
Yeah, we had to extend the rear steadies to their maximum extent with a piece of wood underneath.
Yeah,
because they sort of slope back like that. But it's really nice, and it's close to 30 degrees now, and it's just about bearable out there.
It's very nice in the awning.
Dogs. We've got one dog here and one under the Caravan. So while we were there, we went to Fordingbridge Park.
Oh, that was
such
such a lovely
nice,
park.
by the banks of the Hampshire Avon. That was really, really pleasant. I mean, if you lived there, that would be somewhere you go all the time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, lovely park for kids. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to get him out of that park.
All very brown, obviously, but very nice. And then we went to the Southern Ukulele Store, which is in Southbourne, isn't it? It's actually in Southbourne, I think, near Bournemouth.
Yeah, on the high street.
It's officially Bournemouth, but it's in Southbourne. And accidentally bought George a new ukulele because he's left school and he's starting college in September doing a music production and performance triple A level.
Yeah, in less than 3 weeks.
Is it BTEC?
No, it's A levels. Oh, it's
equivalent of A levels.
It's equivalent of 3.
It's a full-time
A-levels,
course,
but it's like a diploma, extended diploma or something.
And I'd gone in with the idea of just getting him like a sort of souvenir ukulele, because I wanted to get him a soprano, because he hasn't got a little one, and they've got some even tinier ones called Sopranissimo or something like that.
Oh yeah, travel ones.
And there was a travel soprano which was thin, which I quite fancied. But we ended up, it's not that we were talked into it at all, but we got shown a ukulele that was irresistible.
Just to be clear, I wasn't there.
No.
And the look on George's face when he came out of that store, yeah, I knew he'd hit the jackpot.
You haven't seen the bill yet. But
I don't want to see the bill.
This ukulele's got built-in amplification, so he can busk and things like that.
Oh, it's a beautiful
effects,
thing. It's, what was it, carbon fibre?
Yeah, it had a name, but yeah, it's basically plastic. But it's fancy plastic.
Sounds fantastic.
But it sounds a bit like a mandolin when you play it.
Yeah, it does.
When he wants it to. And then we went on Friday, was it, to Hengistbury Head?
We went to Hengistbury Head, which was it was a really warm, sunny day that day. I'd been there on a geography field trip with Year 10 in June, and then realised that it was only half an hour away from where we were going to be on holiday, so I wanted to go back there and have a paddle, because we weren't allowed to go paddling with Year 10. So I went there to have a paddle. It was a lovely, lovely day. We walked right down to the spit, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably...
It was a bit warm for that.
It's about, I know this won't sound like a lot, but it's about 2.5 mile round trip to where we got to. But there's nowhere really to sit at any point.
No.
And it was very hot.
It was too hot for the dogs.
Everybody else who had any sense was riding their bike up there, because you get up to the beach huts up there. But people, you go by bike, so you're always watching out for bikes and everything. But it was lovely. It's quite a unique environment. You've got a combination of Bronze Age and Iron Age man-made structures there, including mounds and things like that, and you've got the natural wetlands that are behind the head, and then you've got the spit itself, And yes, it was lovely. I would love to go back there. I'm sure that when we go down to I'm sure we'll go back to New Forest again, because it's just close enough and just far enough away.
Yeah.
To be perfect for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was really nice. And so we had, was it 6 nights there?
Yeah.
6 nights there. The farm itself is on a road that it's a little bit like Barracks Farm, where we normally go, where we were lucky because the road had been shut. So we were able to walk up it, because there's a co-op at the end of probably about 3/4 of a mile up the road there. There's a co-op, which is very handy. But we managed to walk up there when it was really quiet, because the road had been blocked further up. And not necessarily sure that I'd want to chance that road under normal circumstances.
No, because it's a long straight road and it's used as a cut through, it's a bit like the road by our storage unit where we tried to walk the dogs before. You can't, because people are driving too fast.
It's not quite as bad as that, but
I think it probably is.
I wouldn't want to, because it's right next to a sports recreation ground, a rec, which has its good sides and its bad sides. But you have to walk probably 50 yards along that road to get to the entrance to that. And that's as much as I'd want to do, I think, once the road had opened. And
that's as far as Monty wanted to go, to be fair.
Yeah,
because he was enjoying zoomies.
He had fantastic time. There was a fair bit of noise from there. But
only people, dogs barking and people calling their dogs. And it's weird, because when you were pitched up, people were walking their dogs immediately behind the hedge that was immediately behind where you were sitting. So
yeah, they can't see very much.
No, you can't really see through.
Sometimes they're walking at like 6:30 in the morning, which would annoy our dog.
That's probably weather related, isn't it? Because it was hot and sunny. People were getting up early and walking their dogs very sensibly.
So our ratings for Foxhill Farm, which we recommend, and we will almost certainly be going back to, although of course there are quite a few nice sites in New Forest, including what's it called, what's the one your parents went to? Hilltop Farm.
Hilltop Farm,
which is very close.
Yeah, literally just the other side of the village at Alderholt. Yeah.
So as always, we mark these in several categories. The first is location.
Yes, and we'll have to get.
And these are out of 5.
We'll have to get George's reviews by WhatsApp and put them in after, won't we?
We may or may not, because he spent most of his time in bed. So what would he know?
He didn't spend most of his time in bed.
Anyway, so the location, out of 5, I give it 5.
Yeah, 5. Very nice.
There's tons to do in New Forest. We could have spent a second week there and not covered everything we wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice point there, because you're half an hour from Salisbury, Southampton. So if you're coming from further afield than we obviously were, it's a really good spot to access Portsmouth, Southampton, Bournemouth, Poole, anywhere in that, and Salisbury. So.
Actually, I'm going to make it 4.5, because there wasn't much in Alderholt itself. If it were to be a 5,
well, it's a pub and a co-op.
Then you'd have something to walk to.
Yeah, pub and a co-op.
Well, what's your score then?
Didn't even find the pub, did we?
We didn't end up going there.
No, I don't remember passing it even. Well, I'm notoriously tight with my numbers, aren't I? I'll go 4 then. Site facilities.
I don't think you can fault them.
No, they were very good.
So I'm going to give that a 5.
Yeah.
They even had...
I'll give it 4 3/4, because...
They even had laundry facilities, didn't they?
Yeah, there was laundry there as well, yeah. The only thing I didn't like about there were wet rooms, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't like the fact that it wasn't walled to... Because they were like a private bathroom, but with incomplete walls. So if there was anyone in the other areas, it was a sound travelled anyway. Let's just leave it at that.
Right. I mean, I showered in the Caravan. I like showering the Caravan, so I didn't really experience the wet rooms at all, but I can see that.
They were nice showers though. Nice, enjoyable.
So what are you going to give it for facilities then?
4 3/4.
Yeah. Staff. So we interacted with, I can't remember their names.
Andy and Michelle are the wardens, and the owner is Heather. All very friendly and helpful, yeah.
Yeah. No complaints there, did we?
No.
Andy helped me get he had an extension hose, because I'd bought one of these kits from Amazon and it just didn't have enough length on it to reach their hose points, which in fairness are a fair distance. I'd imagined that a service pitch would have the hose point actually on the
your
pitch.
side, yeah. Because if you have a service pitch here at Rookesbury, the tap is literally behind your Caravan. So your kit that you bought on Amazon would be fine. But at Foxhill, I believe there are three pitches, and behind the middle one is the water. So if you're on one either side, two sets of three. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
But he lent me an extension for the week, so that solved the problem. So that was great.
It's the usual problem there that people will turn up with insufficient hose, because it is you need a really long one.
But yes, it was absolutely fine. It's obvious that a lot of the people that go there are regulars and know, and and at least one of them stores on the site, and they pay an extra tenner for the guys at the farm to tow onto their pitch, which is a tenner well spent, I would think. But yeah, so no fault. So I would give that 5. I have nothing. That's 5 for staff.
Yeah.
Value for money.
Yeah, 5.
Well, I am notoriously a tight ass, but I can't grumble at £30
for a fully serviced pitch
for the 3 of us. If I was going to be critical, I would say charging an extra £1 a night for the dogs is a little unnecessary. Most CLs that I know of, you pay for the pitch. That's it.
You do.
So that's my only grumble. I don't see why we should pay extra for the dogs. They no wear and tear is involved in the dogs being there. So I'm going to give 4.5. What are you giving? 5 for that?
Yeah, I'll go 5.
Okay. And the overall experience. Now that's the experience for the holiday. The experience that we had there of being in the New Forest, being at Foxhill Farm. I think it was very relaxing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would probably pick a pitch, because the pitches are in an L shape, and we were on the point of the L, on the side that at the end of which is the wardens. I'd like to be on the other side, because we'd have had more shade. Because
we'd have had a little bit of shade,
because we got no shade where we were. And even last week, even though it was a lot cooler last week, we got by 10 o'clock it was too hot to sit out in the awning. How George, he managed to stay in his little pod. He must have been boiling in there.
He was. He asked us to unzip him a couple of times, didn't he?
But yes, that was 5 out of 5 for me. It was and overall, for the holiday as a whole, 4.5 out of 5. And that's not, that's the holiday as a holiday.
Yeah, very nice. 4.5. I'm just going to have to I think Dizzy's got stuck.